And since we're at the top of the hour, we'll begin our webinar today. Welcome, everybody, to the REMADE Institute informational webinar on our upcoming education and workforce development request for a proposal. We welcome everyone that's on the line from REMADE Institute member organizations, as well as other organizations that may not be as familiar with REMADE. This certainly represents an exciting opportunity for the Institute to advance circular economy training in the United States with this request for proposals. So today, we'll provide some background on the RFP, as well as a fair amount of detail on the topics that we're looking for proposals in. And then we'll be sure to follow up with a Q&A at the conclusion of the session, which will give you a great opportunity to submit any questions that you may have. We're going to wait till the end of the webinar to go through the questions live. I'm joined here by my colleagues from REMADE who will be on deck to help answer those questions. But in the event that we're not able to get to your question, we will be sure to follow up with you individually, since we do have the contact information through your registration. In addition, we will post a recording of this webinar and also the slide deck on our EWD RFP website. So if there's any additional information that you need following this webinar, please feel free to reach out. So with that, let me give you a quick overview of the agenda today. We're going to be providing a quick introduction to REMADE for those of you on the line that are not familiar with the Institute. We'll provide a little bit of a background on our specifically what we call our tiered certificate pathways strategy, which really is the foundation for this RFP. We'll go through the topics as well as some of the details of the proposal submission process. We'll try to go through those fairly quickly. They are included in the RFP themselves, but we'll try to alert you to some important information today. In addition, we'll provide information on budgets as well as some of our terms and conditions. And then we'll conclude with the Q&A. So with that, let me first start with providing an introduction to REMADE. REMADE is a national consortium of member organizations consisting of industry, academia, trade associations, national labs that are collaborating on early stage applied research and development focused on the circular economy. We were founded and established by the U.S. Department of Energy, and we thank them for their continued support. Now, REMADE, we have two really main areas of focus. We have a research and development portfolio, which I know many of you on the line are familiar with, as well as an education workforce development portfolio, which is the topic today. Just for reference, our technology and our education workforce, we work in parallel together. Magdi Azar, who's on the line, that'll be part of this webinar, is our Chief Technology Officer. So we work very closely in ensuring that we're coordinating with our technology projects. Now, REMADE on both the education and technology side, we're focused on 5 key areas. One is systems analysis and integration, so focusing on data collection, tools for understanding material flows, design for REX, which includes focusing on designing tools that improve material utilization, as well as helping take into account what happens to a product at the end of its life cycle. Manufacturing material optimization, focus on utilizing secondary feedstock in manufacturing. Remanufacturing, which is focused on cleaning, component restoration, condition assessment, reverse logistics, as well as finally recycling and recovery, which, as you can see on the screen, is focused on several different areas, including contaminant removal, advanced separation technologies. So just as a key alert, this RFP, this EWD RFP, we have topics focused on 4 of the 5 areas: design for REX, manufacturing material optimization, remanufacturing, and recycling and recovery. We awarded a project, the last RFP focused on systems analysis and integration. So that will not be as big of a focus for this RFP. So I do want to mention that up front. And for some background, REMADE, we are proud of our diverse membership. Happy to report that we reached 160 members just 2 weeks ago. We are an industry member driven organization. So currently we have 85 industry members, which consists of small to medium-sized enterprises to large global OEMs. We also have 39 academic partners. As you can see on the screen, many of the universities that are represented today, I'm sure you represent, and we're very proud to work with universities, which certainly will be a key partner in this particular RFP. We have 30 affiliate organizations, and we currently work with 6 national labs. Now, if your organization is interested in joining REMADE, please feel free to scan the code on the screen, as well as reach out to me directly or any of us at REMADE, and we'd be happy to provide you additional information. So as I mentioned, focusing on education workforce development, which is the focus of this RFP, REMADE really has identified some key areas when it comes to national challenges that we're trying to address. Some of them include employers we have found cannot easily assess workers' skills and knowledge pertaining to REX, which is a shorthand term that we use for circular economy relevant job skills. And that's really due to a lack of established certification programs. Some of these circular economy concepts are not well integrated currently into a lot of education and training programs on all levels. The training content itself, naturally speaking, is sparsely available today. REMADE is also trying to increase knowledge, especially within industry, on the value proposition of the circular economy. And of course, through education and workforce development, we hope that the training that REMADE is developing for the nation will help address that gap. Now, REMADE's education workforce development program is focused. We have several different areas of focus, but for today, the RFP is focused on developing what we call the REMADE Academy Tier Certificate Pathways. So what does that mean? So REMADE has identified 3 competency levels: awareness, practitioner, and expert level. The awareness level training is meant for a broad audience, introductory in nature. Practitioner level training is really meant for those folks that are in the workforce currently or working in adjacent industries that are really looking to upskill. And finally, expert level training is really focused on engineer level training, scientists that are really trying to take their knowledge to the next level. Now, REMADE, we've developed a certificate program along these 3 competency levels. And the way it works is that courses are stacked to form certificate pathways. And essentially, as a student progresses through awareness level short courses, practitioner level short courses, and expert level short courses, the topics become more specialized. So really, these short courses build upon one another as they're developed across each competency level. Now, once these courses are developed through REMADE's platform and also working with organizations that are awarded through this solicitation, whether it's employees or students, have the option of either enrolling into an individual short course or proceeding through the entire certificate pathway to receive a certificate of completion. So REMADE has really structured our training for flexible schedules on demand. As we'll get to a little bit earlier, this content is going to be developed for online delivery, but we also are providing the opportunity to develop in-person materials as well to supplement the online curriculum. And as I mentioned before, on the certificate level, on the competency levels, REMADE, we have awareness level training, practitioner level training, expert level training. Now, these competency levels are important to keep in mind because as we go through the RFP topics, the topics themselves are specific in terms of what level of training each topic is looking to develop. To give you an idea broadly of one awareness level training course, typically 1 to 2 hours per short course for awareness training. Practitioner level training could be 4 to 8 hours per short course. An expert level training could be 1 to 2 days per short course. Now, these are guidelines that we're looking to be satisfied. However, we're always open to seeing proposals that work within this framework, but also provide creative ways for us to really deliver this training on all 3 competency levels. Now, the reason why we have competency levels is really because REMADE, based on feedback that we have received from our members and beyond, they really enable REMADE to maximize the engagement with the incumbent workforce, which is the target audience for today's RFP. It also helps communicate training expectations to potential participants prior to enrolling. So please, remember this, keep this slide close at hand because we'll go through individual topics and make references to these specific competency levels. Now, let me go through some really high-level information specifically as it relates to this particular RFP. So REMADE, the focus of this RFP specifically is to educate and train engineers for the circular economy. Now, we are looking for teams that have both industry and academic representation. We certainly expect that a lot of our academic partners will take a lead in developing a lot of this curriculum. But if that is the case, which is acceptable, we hope that the team also involves industry members to provide feedback on the curriculum that will be developed to ensure that it has applicability to some of the real time challenges that U.S. industry faces. Now, REMADE, we do encourage collaboration with community-based and other non-governmental organizations that serve historically underrepresented communities to assist with content development and dissemination. So to the extent that your team can bring in some of those relevant NGOs, that it will certainly be welcomed by REMADE. Now, from a funding perspective, per topic, REMADE could maximize the amount of funding available to $100,000 of federal funding per project, but that includes a one-to-one cost share requirement. So if one particular project is awarded $100,000 of REMADE funding, we do ask that it also be matched equally through cost share, similar to our R&D projects, which I know many of you are familiar with. The full amount of REMADE funding that's available as part of this RFP is $600,000. And the period of performance per project is up to 6 months. And we'll go through some of the submission requirements as it relates to the letter of intent, as well as the approval process. But teams are required to submit a basic letter of intent abstract by January 6th of 2023, if you do intend to submit a proposal. So let me quickly go through some of the topics. We'll go through all the topics very briefly that REMADE has included as part of this RFP. So we have 6 topics. The first is advanced material separation technologies, simulation techniques to optimize material use in manufacturing and recycling. We have 3 topics in the remanufacturing area. The first one is condition assessment for remanufacturing, reverse logistics for remanufacturing, as well as cleaning for remanufacturing. And then finally, we have a design topic focused on design for remanufacturing, recycling, and or reuse. Now, as you'll see, each topic is specific on the level of training that we're asking each proposal to develop. And we'll get to that as we go through each individual topic. So let's go through some of the topics at a very high level. So the first topic is in the recycling and recovery node. It's focused on advanced material separation technologies. Now, REMADE is looking to develop short courses on the awareness, practitioner, and expert level, focus on some core topics. Those include the fundamentals of separation science, focusing on current practices and technology for materials recovery for complex waste streams. We're looking for proposals that develop training that really focus on the state of the art of advanced material separation technologies, as well as the development of some of the separation systems that enable effective material separation. So we are looking for, again, courses that are on all three levels: awareness, practitioner, and expert. While this overall topic is focused on advanced material separation technologies, we do ask that as courses are developed along the introductory, practitioner, and expert level training, they build upon one another. But keep in mind that proposals must focus on the learning objectives, and I won't go through all of them in detail, but as you can see on the right-hand side of the screen, here are some of the key learning objectives that we're looking to capture with this particular topic. Now, the mode of delivery, we are looking to develop this for online delivery, and REMADE is also looking to award funding that develops content that can also be presented in person. And that would really be in the circumstance where, especially whether it be at a trade show or on-site at an industry partner facility, we're really able to provide in-person training if needed through this materials as well. The second topic focuses on the manufacturing material optimization node. So this topic specifically is focused on simulation techniques to optimize material use in manufacturing and recycling. So we're really looking at some of the learning objectives, understanding how simulation techniques can be used to optimize material use, understanding some of the basic principles of CalFAD modeling, microstructure modeling, process simulation. We're looking for training that helps students perform simple CalFAD simulations as well. And really, we're trying to teach students and make them aware of some of the emerging simulation techniques that are related to AI and machine learning. So we are looking, again, for training for this particular topic on the awareness, practitioner, and expert level. Teams do have the ability really to hit a broad audience with the incumbent workforce, given that we're able to focus on all three levels. Now we'll go through quickly some of the remanufacturing topics. So the first one is focused on condition assessment for remanufacturing. So these two courses, which specifically this one is looking at practitioner and expert level training, is really trying to provide in-depth understanding of how to assess the reuse potential of either mechanical or electrical product components. So teams do have some flexibility in crafting a proposal that focuses on mechanical, electrical, or electromechanical devices. Topics to be covered include failure mechanisms and failure analysis, testing and inspection methods, as well as evaluation of techniques that can be used to assess components for reuse or repair. The next remanufacturing topic is focused on reverse logistics for remanufacturing. We're looking for training that develops content on the awareness, practitioner, and expert levels. And really, these courses are the reason why we're asking for this topic is students, we're hoping, will able to gain a broad perspective on reverse logistics, core management, and also to be able to present models and tools that can be used to analyze and improve some of these outcomes. And again, teams must address all the learning objectives in addition to developing courses against all three competency levels. Some key themes with this particular topic include developing a broad understanding of different product return mechanisms and models that are used in remanufacturing, verifying core quality, understanding, importantly, some of the economic factors, such as core charges and core pricing, or core return rates. In addition, understanding how remanufacturing products demand, order, return patterns as well. So there's a lot of territory that we're hoping to be covered in this particular proposal, but some of our industry members based here at REMADE have developed and communicated to us a real need for this training. So it should provide a really good opportunity for any team that is looking to develop this. Finally, in the remanufacturing side, we're looking for topics focused on cleaning for remanufacturing. This particular topic is just focused on practitioner and expert level training. Some of the key learning objectives, helping students understand the sources of contamination, types of contaminants, understanding the current state of the art of technologies, as well as understanding energy consumption as it relates for cleaning for remanufacturing. And finally, the last topic, we're going to be focusing on the design space, and there is a fair amount of flexibility within this topic on where teams could focus on, but we are looking to develop content that really focuses on understanding the similarities and differences among remanufacturing, recycling, and reuse processes, really teaching students how to navigate the design decision framework, especially when it comes to strategies that incorporate remanufacturing, recycling, and reuse. REMADE does have an introductory level or awareness level course focused on the design for reman, recycling, and reuse. So for any current member of REMADE, certainly would recommend checking out that course. These courses will supplement what REMADE already has in its training library. And again, this is really focused on the practitioner and expert level courses. And I know I went through this very quickly. We will certainly provide time at the end of this session if specifically you have technical questions that we can help answer as it relates to this topic. Now, some of the actual logistics around proposal submissions. So we ask that, certainly proposals clearly identify the topic addressed by the proposal. We want to ensure that proposals are addressing all the learning objectives. They're responding to all the competency levels that are requested. So awareness, practitioner, and/or expert level training, dependent on the topic that is being addressed. The proposal themselves, we ask teams for a course outline, also to present plans for how the teams will be able to complete the content development within 6 months. Following the content development, REMADE certainly hopes to continue our partnership with the teams that are awarded. So we will be looking to organize at least one REMADE training event following the completion of the content development. And the time of that will be based on the time and location and the convenience for both REMADE and the teams in terms of delivering that content. And Sarah, later in just a few minutes, will go through some of our terms and conditions. Some other things to keep in mind, applicants must provide an electronic version of the training materials for each short course. Again, we want to enable a student to be able to go through this on their own if they don't have the ability to attend a live training. Teams are also going to be asked to actually, in addition to developing the content, to actually record the training so it can be posted online. And some of the visual requirements that we ask for that specific recording component, We ask that, there certainly be basic lighting. We want to make sure that the recording quality should be at least 1080p or better. We also recommend, from an audio perspective, that presenters use a USB microphone to ensure good audio quality. All of those details are in the RFP. And of course, if we're able to answer those questions individually as it relates to some of the guidelines, as it relates to quality of the content, we can certainly answer those. Now, to give a quick overview of the actual process, so we released this RFP on November 17th. We're having the webinar today. Now, the next deadline to keep in mind is that REMADE will be seeking letters of intent and project abstracts by January 6th. And that is due by 5 p.m., it's a Friday. January 6th is a Friday. It is required. And the reason why we require a letter of intent is simply because it enables REMADE to perhaps provide feedback to a team if they intend to submit a proposal later on. If we think the proposal may be out of scope, we'll be able to communicate to the team prior to the proposal itself being drafted. In addition, it also provides REMADE the ability to really predict what proposals will be coming in, so we're able to really put together a merit review panel with the expertise to evaluate the proposals that will be coming in. Following the letter of intent, which is due on January 6th, on January 27th, proposals are due by 5 p.m. Eastern time. So that is the full proposal. And again, teams, we hope, will be notified of the decision by March 2023. So REMADE, during the month of February, and its merit review panel will evaluate the proposals that come in. And then REMADE anticipates a project start date by September of 2023. Now, any questions regarding this RFP, either prior to the letter of intent or during any of this timeline, we certainly, encourage teams to reach out to us by emailing us in the email below. We will be posting any questions that come in to the website in the event that we think it would be helpful to share in our FAQ on the website itself. As I mentioned, going back to the letter of intent, some things to keep in mind. It's a brief letter of intent, but we do ask that teams first identify the topic that they're going to be responding to. If teams anticipate team members being part of the proposal, we ask that be indicated as well as identifying the lead organization's contact information. And you can see on the bottom of the screen, we do ask that these letters of intent and abstracts are submitted electronically by 5 p.m. Eastern on January 6th to REMADE at remadeinstitute.org. Now, once these letters of intent are screened, REMADE will, within 5 days, evaluate them, really along two key criteria. One, does the project abstract align with RFP EWD topic? And finally, does the project abstract, will it identify all the learning objectives? Does it respond to all the learning objectives within a particular topic? So some preliminary screening that we do, but we do hope that this will provide also a good way for REMADE to provide some feedback as well. With the actual submission of the proposal, both on January 27th, same email address as for the letter of intent, it's remade at remadeinstitute.org. Each proposal team must submit a full proposal by January 27th at 5 p.m. Eastern. If you go on REMADE's website, there's the full project package that includes the budget justification Excel template, as well as the RFP itself. We do ask that all parties that are involved with the project must fill out a budget justification sheet. And applicants will receive an email confirmation that their proposal was received. And EWD proposals will be deemed compliant if a letter of intent was submitted on January 6th. And of course, I won't go through all the details of the eligibility requirement, but whether it relates to membership or cost share requirements, we ask that you do take a look at those because if you follow those, REMADE will consider the proposal compliant, and we ask that teams submit their full proposal by no later than 5 p.m. on January 27th, 2023, and that's in the Eastern Standard Time Zone. Now, with regards to the actual evaluation criteria, REMADE, as we go to our merit review panels after we receive the proposals, there are 3 key areas that we evaluate the proposals. First, the curriculum, the extent to which the proposed course addresses the learning objectives in the topic and specifically addresses the needs of the incumbent workforce. Now, we mentioned earlier that teams are highly encouraged to have both academic and industry representation. So this is a key piece. So we want to make sure that the proposed course that is being presented is relevant to incumbent workforce engineers. And the best way to do that is to bring in industry members to help provide that validation during content development. In addition, the methodology, the extent to which the project develops training pursuant to the competency levels that we asked for each individual topic. So that could be awareness, practitioner, and expert. And then again, going back to the project team, to the extent to which the proposal team really has the expertise to develop this EWD curriculum. I won't go through this full chart, but if you go into the EWD RFP itself, you can really see how this evaluation criteria is broken down. So to receive an excellent score, you can see the various details in each individual description to receive an excellent score. And of course, we have good and poor. Fairly straightforward, we hope. But again, please pay attention to this, especially when it comes to making sure that you're responding to the topic and the learning objectives. This could really be a great guide for teams as they're trying to determine how to effectively craft a winning proposal. Now, some of the actual logistics when it comes to the development of an EWD project through REMADE. So teams, as part of the proposal, are asked to put together a preliminary statement of project objectives, or what we call a SOPO. And really, this provides a clear and concise statement of goals for the project, and that includes tasks and milestones that really will be used to monitor the progress of the project. If a project is selected for award, we will be using this SOPO once we enter what we call the negotiation stage to really craft the task and the milestones, as well as organizing the various project management and reporting requirements. This really is a great piece, a great way to organize over a 6-month period how teams will accomplish the objectives. And some recommendations when it comes to preparing what are some proposed milestones, including your proposal. We want to make sure that the milestones are specific, they're measurable, achievable, relevant, and timely. We certainly hope that this information will be a great way for you to structure a proposal. And if selected for award, we'll use this as a guide to really build out a schedule to ultimately develop and release the content to U.S. industry. So with that, I'm going to shift gears, and I want to introduce our Director of Finance, Michelle Gibson, who will provide a brief overview of some budgetary items to keep in mind. Michelle, are you there?
I'm here. So
Great.
again, good afternoon, everyone. Again, I'll just provide high level, overview of the budgets. So first of all, project lead organizations, they're responsible for coordinating the overall project budget, including the budgets of any sub-recipients that are part of your project. There will be an Excel budget template that needs to be completed by the lead organization and all of the other parties that are part of the project. The template is provided by the Department of Education. And so it is something that we ask that all the formulas stay intact and you really just use it as a template. You'll see that this template is an Excel spreadsheet. It has various tabs. Those tabs correlate to the blue boxes that are on the top of this slide. And so you'll have a tab for personnel expenses, fringe, travel, etc. And you just want to complete each of the tabs. We'll be providing both a Word document that walks you through the budget, as well as a sample template so that you can see how to complete everything. There are, you want to make sure of a few things. One is that all of the costs that you bake into and put into your budget really need to be related to the project. Be mindful of salaries that cannot be higher than $120 an hour as you're completing the budget. And then John talked earlier about cost share. So you'll see in the budget template itself, there'll be a place to put the cost share. You do need to make sure that it is at a 1-to-1 match. And that just means for every $1 of REMADE provided funding, you have a cost share match to it. All partners will look at the project as a whole. So all of your partners don't necessarily have to provide cost share. You just want to make sure that the overall project is at a 1-to-1 match. And at a high level, that's the information for the budget. I want to let you know that my email is here provided on this slide. It's also on our website. If you have any questions as you're preparing your proposals, I'm here to help.
Great, thank you, Michelle. And Michelle, you'll be here at the end to answer any follow-up questions as well.
Yep.
Great. Well, let's briefly go through some of the final items. So we have questions, sometimes about what's a team member, what's a supplier. So team members have a specific role or function on a team and actually are involved with accomplishing some of the specific tasks and milestones that are part of the project. A supplier is deemed a member that is providing a service or is supporting the project through perhaps providing a sample to help with the project development. Now they do not have to be a REMADE member if they're a supplier, but if they are involved, if there is an organization that's part of your team that is involved with actually satisfying the milestones and involved with the content development itself, they are required to join REMADE. Just briefly, once REMADE receives the proposal, what we'll do is we'll put together merit review panels that are aligned to various REMADE material classes and that have a specific expertise in the topic that's being reviewed. And the merit review panels are drawn from REMADE member committees that includes our Strategic Advisory Committee, Education and Training Steering Committee, as well as a Technical Advisory Committee. As I mentioned, REMADE, we have now 160 members, so we have a very deep knowledge base to draw from. When evaluating these proposals, certainly merit reviewers are governed by a conflict of interest policy. And then following merit review of these proposals, panelists will come together and will assign a grade based on the evaluation criteria that we displayed earlier, and that which is also included as part of the RFP. And then following the merit review, they will present recommendation to REMADE, the Chief Technology Officer, who's Magdi, who's on the line, myself, as well as the node leaders. And then funding recommendations will ultimately be developed and sent to our governance board for their approval. And then finally, all REMADE projects and all REMADE funding ultimately must be receive final approval from the Department of Energy. Now, I mentioned with membership, organizations that participate in the project calls must be a member of REMADE by the date the subaward is effective. So if your team, if you submit a proposal and you have several team members, could very well be that one team member is an existing member of REMADE and another one hasn't joined REMADE. That's perfectly acceptable. We do ask, though, that if the project is selected for award, all the organizations that are participating in the project do join REMADE. And, certainly, REMADE, we are a convener. So if you're interested in REMADE helping you find relevant team members, please feel free to reach out to us. We have various levels of membership, whether you're a university, an industry organization, a national lab, or a trade organization. We certainly welcome your participation in our institute. And so with that, I'm also going to hand over now to our legal counsel, Sarah Bisham, who will provide some quick overviews on some of our terms and conditions.
Hello. As John said, we're a party to a cooperative agreement with the Department of Energy. And so from a contractual perspective, we have the Department of Energy, then REMADE, and then we have a prime recipient. We contract with multiple subrecipients, but that prime subrecipient on the project is responsible for coordinating and flowing down the contract requirements to all of its team members. Our cooperative agreement with the Department of Energy is subject to substantial involvement. So the DOE is pretty heavily involved in reviewing the terms of our projects. All of these terms must be adhered to by the project team as a whole, and the prime subrecipient is going to be responsible for making that happen. That prime subrecipient contracts with us. So a subrecipient is not contracting with the Department of Energy, it's specifically with REMADE. The terms and conditions that flow down to our subrecipient contracts consist of our award terms and our membership terms. As John said, all team members must be members of the Institute, and our membership agreement is largely a restatement of that award, but it includes additional terms, which we'll talk about in a moment at a high level. And all of these terms collectively govern the project. We will have a more detailed conference call after projects have been selected for negotiation to talk about contractual processes and what else can be expected. And you can always contact me with any questions. John, do you want to go to the next slide? So as I say, the award terms and conditions are actually going to start on the right side of the slide. We have special terms and conditions. Those are straight from the Department of Energy. They incorporate some regulations from the Code of Federal Regulations. They include Term 51, which is a DOE order that has to do with foreign participation. And I'll come back to the foreign question in a moment. There are government IP terms. When the government funds sponsored research under BIDOL, and our award is governed by BIDOL, the party who does the work conceives of the invention, creates the copyrightable content, will own that content, absent other arrangements, which we will also come back to. But the government reserves a non-exclusive right in all of that intellectual property. So we have a class patent waiver, which together with Bayh-Dole accomplishes that for all of our subrecipients in the United States. Because this is an EWD project call, the training content that is developed is to be assigned to REMADE. You know, we are funding this out of our federal award, and the work will be assigned to us. It'll be a work for hire, the rights will be assigned, and the member who creates the work will retain a royalty-free right to use for internal educational purposes. But REMADE's objective is to create a portfolio of fee-based certified training programming, and so that's the arrangement. Now, that doesn't affect background IP that every party brings to the table. That remains licensed to REMADE solely with respect to that deliverable, but otherwise, any subrecipient who is using background IP is completely free to continue to use that and dispose of it in any way they choose to do so. So moving to the left, the additional terms in our membership agreement that apply across the board together with the award are what you would expect: non-disclosure agreement, which inures to the benefit of all of our membership; export control, compliance with standard US export control laws; data management plan, the objective of which is to disseminate the output from our projects. I mentioned foreign work. So the Department of Energy's program that governs our award is very specifically focused on improving, advancing US manufacture and improving competitiveness for the US. And so there is a strong focus on ensuring that if there are foreign entities involved, and that can happen, they must be approved by Department of Energy. If work will be performed outside the US, that requires the approval of the Department of Energy as well. So just noting that, probably less likely to come up in the context of EWD projects versus the technical projects that we do. But again, you have my email address here. Any questions you have, I would be happy to answer. Thanks,
Thank you, Sarah. So just a recap of some of the deadlines, and then we'll open it up to Q&A. So we released RFP on November 17th. So your letter of intent will be due January 6th. Proposals are due January 27th. And we anticipate being able to notify the decision of the merit reviews by March of 2023, and then a project start date of September 2023. Now, if for whatever reason you're unable to submit a proposal, but you would be interested in getting involved with REMADE, there's a great way to also be involved with our EWD solicitation, and that's through becoming a merit review. So if you do have a certain expertise, you weren't able to submit a proposal this time around, but you'd be interested in getting involved with the process, volunteering to be a merit reviewer would be extremely welcomed. And do feel free to reach out to me directly if that's something of interest to you. Again, we do follow a strict conflict of interest policy. So as long as that we're following that, certainly feel free to reach out to me. So let me welcome back our full REMADE team, Magdi, Michelle, and Sarah. And we're going to open it up to some questions. And Magdi, since you haven't had a chance to speak yet, I'm going to give you the chance at the first question here, especially speaking from the technology portfolio. So the first question that came in was, what are some of the industries that REMADE really focuses on when it comes to developing training? What are some examples of industries that we want to focus on?
So again, the way I would distinguish it is two things. So first of all, the technology area for example, John talked about 3 specific projects focused on remanufacturing. So obviously, people who reply to that RFP for one of those topics need to make it applicable to manufacturing. Now, once that happens, then we're less concerned about whether they're applying it in the aerospace sector, the off-road heavy-duty vehicle sector, or the automotive sector. So we're not trying to limit. The other thing I would mention is that many of the topics we are asking for content in are broadly applicable across multiple industries. So again, going to one of the examples around simulation tools for material development, I know that's not the exact title, but again, those techniques could be applied to a problem in aerospace. They could be applied to a problem in automotive, or many other industries. Similarly, recycling projects, what we're looking for is content that is broadly applicable. Maybe a little bit more material specific, but it's broadly applicable. Hope that answers your question.
Great. Thank you, Maggie. The next question that we had coming in was, how long of content duration are you expecting for the short courses? So that's a great question. So for an awareness level short course, one individual short course, we're looking for 1 to 2 hours per short course. For practitioner level, that would be probably in the 4 to 8 hour range per course. And again, the reason being is that the topic, the content itself is becoming more advanced and more specialized. In addition, the expert level training, really that's meant for really in-depth upskilling of engineers, scientists. That probably we would look for proposals that develop a expert level course in a particular topic that's in the 1 to 2 day range. Let's see, we have another question coming in. And Sarah, I think this one may be for you. It says, I'm trying to understand how to convince agencies which provide, the one-to-one match, how to provide exclusive IP rights to REMADE.
Yeah, no, I completely appreciate the challenge with that issue. At its most basic, they're providing one-to-one match, but we are also providing a one-to-one match. We are enabling it to happen. We are pulling the team together, and we are going to go out and put it into the world and into the industry and get it implemented. In the end, if your organization refuses to give up ownership and control, totally understand that perspective. If your and maybe there's nowhere we can go with that. Although I would encourage you to still contact John and talk through what specific issues you have to see whether there might be a compromise somewhere. But we are designed and set up to put this out and engage with the people that these programs are intended to reach. And we don't lock up the course entirely. The creator of the content retains the right to use it internally for educational purposes on a completely perpetual, non-exclusive, royalty-free basis. And of course, as I mentioned, the background IP is encumbered solely by a very limited license to us, to the extent necessary to put out that content. We get nothing beyond that. And we really are willing to work around potential compromises that might make some parties a little more comfortable with that. But you can understand that if we're going to fund these content developments, it makes no sense for us to do that with DOE money and then have the other party own that content and go compete with us. So, we're happy to provide the funding and more than delighted to provide the mechanism for getting the content out in the world. But it makes no sense for us to do that if we are then going to compete with the creator of the content. by participating in this process, the idea is you're helping us create this portfolio that is going to reach its target audience. And there are residual rights, there are reserved rights, but if the creators hold on to all those rights, then we don't really accomplish anything despite providing 50% federal funding. I hope that answers the
And
question.
Sarah, if I could add to that, while that's remade. While the award itself is 6 months, we have a SOPO that dictates the milestones and the task. Once that's complete, remade is interested in making sure that the content gets out to the world. So certainly after the we view these projects as really the beginning of a partnership with your organization. The form that it takes, will certainly be case by case, but we're interested in this being a launching point for REMADE to partner with your organization to really educate, and fulfill our mission of training U.S. industry and careers in the circular economy.
And John, maybe you want to tack onto that a reply to one of the earlier questions. Where will the coursework be available to view, and does REMADE only have access to it in the future?
Yes, so the course work, so REMADE, we currently, for our members at no cost, have a learning management platform where all of the course content that we currently have and what will be developed in the future is available for our members at no cost. And then if you're not a member of REMADE, we do charge a fee to access that training, but it is available on a learning management platform. So if you're a REMADE member, if your organization's a REMADE member, you have access to it at no cost. And then in addition, REMADE, we do permit, as Sarah mentioned, the ability for an organization that's awarded to use it for internal educational purposes as well. So there's a couple of different ways that we provide access to that training. Let's see if there's other questions. Another question that came in, we've got 3 minutes left. Do you have templates for the full proposal and the budget justification? We do, and Michelle mentioned it earlier. If you go onto the RFP website, you'll actually be able to download all the templates. That includes the proposal template, the letter of intent template, as well as the budget template that can help guide you when you put together your proposal. So that's easily accessible on the REMADE website. Let's see, are there any other questions coming in? Maggie, I think we're reaching the end here. I was wondering, we have organizations that are represented on the line that certainly have been active with our technology projects. Maybe if you could elaborate a little bit more on the sort of how EWD and the relevance EWD has to the ongoing technology portfolio. Is he on the line? He may have logged off. Okay, well, that might be a signal. I think we lost Maggie. Well, we have no more questions at the moment, but if you do have questions, do feel free to reach out to me or any of us directly. We also have the email remadeinstitute.org where you can submit any questions. And we will post these slides on the website as well as the recording of the webinar in case you want to share with any colleagues. So with that, I think we'll conclude for today. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Sarah, for standing by. And we look forward to seeing some really great proposals in January. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yep, bye-bye.